Morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wednesday, October 15th, 2025 meeting of the Lake Havasu City Planning and Zoning Commission. If you'd all rise and join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Susanna Ballard. Commissioner Joan DeZuro. Commissioner Paul Lair.
Here.
Vice Chair Tiffany Wilson. Commissioner Lonnie Stevenson. Here. Chair Jim Harris.
Here.
Commissioner Gabrielle Medley. Here. Commissioner Mary Costa. Here. Commissioner JP Thornton.
Here.
Commissioner Phil Annette.
Okay, correspondence and announcements. Mr. Gilbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My correspondence announcements for today are entirely related to the general plan update. On October 29th and October 30th, there is an open house workshop, which is going to be held at the library. And the times are 1:30 to 3:30 on the 29th and 11:30 to 1:30 on the 30th. Being an open house format, you can come and go. You don't have to be there on time. You can come at any time and participate. There's also a virtual workshop that's due to open early in November, and it will be open until November 23rd, which the public can access by going to our website at lhcaz.gov or directly to www.publicinput.com/Lake Havasu General Plan. And for anyone that's present in the audience, there are some flyers out in front of the doors where you come in here in the room. And that's all I got. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Minutes from the last meetings. We have two meetings that we have to approve. ID 254964. Are there any additions, deletions, corrections to those minutes by commissioners? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. We have a motion to approve by Ms. Medley.
I'll second.
And a second by Mr. Stevenson. Any further discussion? Let's go ahead and vote.
The motion to approve the minutes of the September 17th meeting passes 6-0.
Okay, the next item is ID 254965, the minutes from the October 1st meeting. Any motions?
Did they change the location on that?
Yes, we did on the final version. We updated that.
Okay, looking for a motion to approve or just? We have a motion to approve by Ms. Medley, a second by Mr. Thornton. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's call for the question.
The motion to approve the October 1st minutes passes 6-0.
Okay, this is a public hearing, and let me first start by saying there is a structured order to this proceeding. The city staff will present each item. There will be time for the commission to ask questions of the staff, and then the applicant will have the opportunity to present their case to the commission. That being done, we will then open the proceedings to the public for their questions and input. I would ask that anyone of the public that wishes to speak limit their trips to the podium and microphone to one only, keep all comments to less than 3 minutes, and to stay on point and not discuss subject matter that is not pertinent to the decision being considered here today. After public testimony is taken, I will then close the public hearing and bring the motion back to the table for city staff's exceptions and conditions of approval, discussion amongst the commission, and eventually a motion to approve or disapprove. And I thank you in advance for your cooperation. The first item on today's agenda is ID 25-4958, and this is a request for a plan development rezone and amended general development plan of 5601 Highway 95 Building 1, Track 2396, Lot A-3 from general commercial plan development which is C2 PD district, to general commercial plan development, C2 PD district, to allow multifamily residential a maximum of 32 feet above the approved design building pad height for each of the buildings, and an exception to the residential covered parking requirements. Mr. Kearns, your presentation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subject property is located on the west side of the shops at Lake Havasu, just south of Walmart. A commercial retail building is to the east, and undeveloped Arizona state land is to the west of the property. The property measures a total of 4.54 acres. It consists of a theater, restaurant, and parking area. The adjacent properties are zoned general commercial C2 district and general commercial plan development C2 PD district. The general plan designates this area as commercial mixed use. The applicant's letter of intent states that they are proposing a 102-unit multifamily project that will consist of 6 buildings with a mix of 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom units. The buildings will be 3-story buildings with an exterior access to the units. Each unit will have a balcony or patio at the rear. The structures will be modular construction. This means that they will be built off-site and brought on location to be assembled. The applicant has committed to developing a high-quality community that meets city standards, complies with the shop's CC&Rs, and provides well-designed, energy-efficient homes. The mall CC&Rs require shared parking and cross-access easements through the majority of the mall properties. The owner provided a parking calculation of the current existing uses at the mall. There are currently 713 parking spaces more than current code requires. This project will remove 322 spaces and provide 176 new spaces. After the project's completion, there will be 567 parking spaces more than the code requires. There is currently no covered parking spaces at the mall. Besides the requested exceptions, the request complies with the required findings of the development code. Staff's recommended conditions. 1, the development of the property shall substantially match the general development plan. 2, multifamily residential is allowed only on the northern half of the subject property, as identified on the amended general development plan. A lot alteration is required to create a separate lot for the proposed multifamily project. The lot alteration and parcel plat must be completed prior to any future city approvals. The current shared parking and cross-access easements for the subject property and surrounding properties must remain shared. 4, building permits and design review for compliance with city codes are required prior to development of the property. I'll be happy to answer any questions. The applicant's also here today.
Do we have any questions of staff by commissioners? Anybody at all?
I do.
Mr. Stevenson.
Mr. Kearns, when you're giving numbers for the parking, what areas specifically are you talking about? I assume that doesn't include the area in front of Walmart.
Yeah, so with their CC&Rs, Walmart and Dillard's are not included in the, they're excluded from the shared, this area's shared parking.
Okay.
So we took those extra parking spaces out of their calculation, and the leftover was the 713.
We're talking about the lot on the south side of the Buffalo Wild Wings and movie theater building, and then the center area between the 2 buildings and in front of J.C. Penney's.
Yes, so the whole middle section, basically the north side and the complete south side were excluded, but the middle section is all the parking.
Okay. And you said at the end we're still over 500 and some parking places.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions of staff? Commissioners? Mr. Thornton?
Actually, no.
Okay. No other questions of staff? Is the applicant present? Would you like to make a presentation? You don't have to. Please state your name for the record.
James Gray with the Partnership for Economic Development. Usually I like to work with a slide deck, but a couple of things I would want to point out about this project. At the end of 2023, we did a affordable housing study, and apartments make up only about 2.7% of the full housing makeup. It's something that we've tried to implement in our city. Our city is probably somewhere between 84 to 86% built out. We're incredibly high valued. And as we saw on Delta McCulloch, when we try and do high density in neighborhoods, it can be challenging, both for the commission and for the developers. One of the interesting things about this project is you kind of hear this live, work, play aspect, right? Like, so this is a new thing in metros where traveling to work, coming home to third space can be challenging. So living in a dense place where they can walk to grocery, restaurants, entertainment, retail is a bonus. Many people might not think that. But for these 102 units, they'll actually experience that. But on the other side of the win-win is actually all the restaurants, grocery, retail, entertainment. And so here's a neighborhood where they're actually accepting of the development and they think density actually favors them compared to a lot of other spaces in our city. And then I'll finally just end with this. A lot of times we think about density and what public cities have to put in as far as traffic and infrastructure and things like this. This development is happening completely on private property with private roadways, private infrastructure that is underutilized. So we see this as a next step in winning at the shops at Lake Havasu. And I know the developers and the shop owners are excited to get it going. And that's all.
All right, thank you. Any questions of the applicant? All right, thank you, sir. All right, this is a public hearing. If there's anybody in the audience that wishes to speak on this item, either pro or con, please come forward, state your name for the record.
My name's Emiliano Torres. I'm a resident. Just wondering what's the rationale for the exception to the covered parking? Everyone else has to meet the spec. I don't know why this one is an exception.
Mr. Kearns, can you address that?
So the exception for the covered parking is that the mall is shared parking. So they have to, with the CC&Rs, they have to share. So if they put up covered parking, it would probably just get taken up by the people that are there for the retail. With their CC&Rs, they're not allowed to put up designated parking spaces. That's part of the shared parking element. And then I believe that's no other area in the mall has covered parking. So it's not something that is typically already there. It's more of a new thing here.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Torres?
It answers the question, but it doesn't provide a rationale for the exception.
All right, thank you. Is there anybody else in the audience that would wish to speak on this item, either pro or con? Please state your name for the record, Mr. Nelson.
Good morning. My name is Chad Nelson, and I was hoping not to speak about this because it's like I've been working on this since 2018 and have tried to place apartment developments in several different places in the city, and there's no other place that it will work. So we have to pull it into an area to where it will be acceptable. And we're so focused on bringing apartments to a residential standard, like a residential home, which has covered parking. And we need to think about what rents are to make places where the workforce can live. And so we look for an area where essentially where covered parking and a lot of other elements weren't really allowed. So this is just a fit for our community, and that's the rationale. There's a lot of other rationales, but we're looking for a fit to where this will work in our community and everybody can agree.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Mr. Tuneman, could I ask you to come to the microphone, please? Is it correct that, go ahead and state your name.
Yeah, Jeff Tuneman, Development Services Director. Thank you, Mr.
Is it
Chair.
correct that all residential housing requires one covered parking place as far as our code is concerned?
That is correct.
Could this possibly be a precedent setter for future developments?
I don't think so, because as the applicant stated, this community itself already doesn't have covered parking. It's not an element of that community. And as Trevor Kern stated, you put covered parking up in this area, the commercial aspect is going to gravitate to that. Employees are going to gravitate to that. And therefore, those residents may not be able to take advantage of some of that parking close to their residence. So we see this as a different element than being in a residential zoning district. This is a C2 district that we're entering into a residential use. So it makes sense. That's why staff's, I guess, on board with the covered parking.
Thank you for the explanation. That's what I was looking for, the difference between C2 and residential.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. We are still at the public hearing process. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak in favor or against this item? Please come forward, state your name for the record.
Good morning, Don Cantrell. What we didn't talk about was the affordability aspect. Chad touched on it for a minute. We're developers. We're developing these kind of projects all over the country with the stated objective of lowering the average rent. So it's really important to us that we find we call it hyper efficient locations where we can look to the cost, which drives the rent. So the parking, as Chad stated, in a way that's a little bit of a bonus to us for cost because it's less expensive. We're going to price these units at below the average market rent, inclusive of utilities, TVs on the walls, full appliances, washer, dryer. They're at or a little slightly above average size. And we're looking to, if you just walk outside of this, the council chambers here, you can see some of the, below standard housing. And that's not below rent housing, it's below standard. We're going to be priced largely similar to most of the apartments in the city, but delivering a brand new apartment experience. So every dollar that we spend, it's just, I like to say it's just a spreadsheet. There's $1 of cost, it increases the rent. There's the lender's on board, everybody's on board. It's a model. So it's really our objective, and like Chad said, I've owned in Havasu I've been before, some of you here before. I've owned here for 25 years and love the area. I have houses in other markets as well. And when Chad and I stumbled into this, actually worked towards it since 2018 to find a spot that would pencil. The whole key is we looked at a spot south of town. We just couldn't get the numbers to work. They don't work. You can't rent them. That's why there's no new apartments in Havasu. It's not because people don't want to build them. It's because at $300 a foot to build an apartment, you have to charge $2,000 a month to rent it. We plan to charge, we're working on it. It's a number. We think it's closer to the $1,200 range. So it's really important that we're hyper efficient on the cost. So it is, as that's said, and y'all, the parking, it is a bonus for us, but that bonus translates into an advantage for the resident. If you drive around many of your communities, especially in middle income, lower income, those guys are working in the day. They don't need covered parking. Their cars are at their place of work. And you drive around, take a shot at it as you're driving around. You'll see these parking lots are empty. The covered parking has nobody under them. They come home at night and they want a great place to live. That's what we're building. That's what we'd like to build. So the rationale goes farther than it really is. How do we deliver? We're taking no subsidies. We're building this with our money, but we're building it hyper efficiently, passing along the cost savings to our residents.
Thank you, Mr. Cantrell. Any questions of the speaker? Mr. Thornton.
I love this project. I mean, this is amazing. I think what you guys are doing is just phenomenal. And I hope what you guys are doing resonates with other developers and other people that actually have heart and integrity and really love this town and understand what it needs. And that's amazing. It's like seeing this come across, I was so happy. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is great. It made my week. It really did. And I know Chad, you've been trying to do this and get this throughout the community, something like this, which is, it's hard that you can't, and it's so frustrating that you can't, that you have to go outside. But I mean, yes, there's, new developments and stuff, a lot more stuff coming up there. That's going to start growing a lot out there. So that's awesome for you to be able to have this space to be able to do this it's great. I mean, hopefully we can find more in town, like, the McCulloch one, that was tough, but we needed it. And that was a pretty rough meeting that we had. But it's necessary. And so many people don't understand that. And there's so much more coming in, and there's no, more businesses coming in and more big things coming in, and there's nothing for our workforce, and they just can't afford it. And it's just the cost of running business and what some of the business owners here have to charge. It makes it so where it's so much harder. So, employees can't get paid as much, and they can't. It's a big battle, but it's really part of what our community is. And the fact that we have people like you guys fighting for it is amazing, because there's not that many people left that actually care enough to do it. So I want to thank you guys for what you're doing, and I think it's awesome.
All right, we are still at the public hearing portion of the meeting. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak on this item? Anybody at all? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing portion of the meeting. Bring it back to the table for staff's recommendations.
Other than the exceptions, the project meets city code requirements.
Okay. We are now at the table for discussion and or a motion, commissioners. Anybody? Questions? Discussion? Motion?
I would like to make a motion.
Ms. Medley?
I would move to recommend the approval of land use request 25-4958 to the City Council for a planned development rezone. My glasses on. An amended general development plan for 5601 Highway 95, Building 1, Tract 2396, Lot A-3, from the General Commercial Plan Development District to the General Commercial Plan Development District to allow multifamily residential uses a maximum of 32 feet above the approved design building pad height for each of the buildings, and an exception to the residential covered parking requirement.
Do we have a second? All right, we have a motion by Ms. Medley, a second by Mr. Thornton to approve item number ID 25-4958 with staff's exceptions.
Mr. Chairman, that's building I, not building 1. I just want to correct that for the motion.
Okay.
Now with my glasses on, sorry guys.
I think I referred to it as building 1 also, so building I has been noted. Any further discussion on the motion? Mr. Stevenson? No. Okay. Sorry. Anybody? All right, let's call for the question.
The motion to recommend approval passes 6-0.
Congratulations and good luck. All right, that is all that we have today on the agenda. The next item on the agenda is the call to the public, where somebody can speak to the commission on any item whatsoever. Is there anybody that would like to address the commission? Seeing none, I'll close the call to the public. Future meetings, Mr. Gilbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our next meeting is on November 5th, and that could be a very long night, so come prepared.
All right. We stand adjourned.